What is going on, guys? Back with another Locked On Wizards episode. Your boy D and Ed. We got a mailbag today. We got some questions about Deni, Bradley Beal. We got questions about a lot of things, man. Tommy Sheppard. So let's get right into it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is going on, guys? D and Ed back at you with another Locked On Wizards podcast episode. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen each and every day. We are free and available on all platforms. This episode is also brought to you by Prize Picks. Don't hesitate. Check out prizepicks.com and use promo code NBA or go to your app store and download the app today. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. So, Ed, let's hop right into these mailbag questions.
Yes, sir. I want to say happy birthday, man.
Oh, thank you.
D was at the game last night. Unfortunately, he saw the way it ended.
Yeah,
but
it was rough. It was rough, but it was a good birthday nonetheless.
Right. All right. So this one is from Faisal Hassan. He's on Twitter at FAAZZLA. He says, if Thomas Bryant is hitting close to 40% of his threes, what do you guys want to do with the big man situation? Also, should Greg Monroe keep a roster spot since we are so small at the center position? We did sign Greg Monroe officially to the 10-day contract, and there's reports saying that Thomas Bryant should be back in 2 weeks.
It's tough. I think there's definitely a place for Thomas Bryant. I definitely think there is, because you have to look at times there's games where, Daniel Gafford is in foul trouble, or as we've seen against the Bulls and against the Rockets, Daniel Gafford hasn't finished those games. He hasn't been in there for whatever reason. In my opinion, I think especially the Rockets game, felt like he should have been in there. But sometimes Wes wants to space the floor, and it will be better instead of having Anthony Gill in there. You can have a Thomas Bryant in there who has that size and also can hit the three. And if he's hitting it at a 40% clip, that's just great. I do think the Wizards need size. So Greg Monroe, I doubt the Wizards are going to have 4 centers on their roster, though. I don't think that'll be a thing. I think Greg Monroe, they'll probably let him have an opportunity to go somewhere else or to another team that needs a extra body if someone goes out on the protocol. So I think they'll stick with Montrez, Gafford, and Thomas Bryant. Who knows what they do at the trade deadline. But if Thomas Bryant comes in hitting 40%, that'll be lovely. That'll definitely be lovely.
Yeah, they could definitely use TV. I'm excited for him to come back. Our three-point shooting is really bad. I looked it up. We're 26th in three-point percentage. You look at the game last night, we were 10 for 39, which is abysmal. And teams sit in zone. And it's going to be hard to do that when you have a stretch five like a Thomas Bryant can step out and shoot threes. Anthony Gill hit a three against the Bulls the other night. So that was huge. And Gafford, he's done better with the foul trouble in the last couple games, except for the game against the Rockets last night where he had 5 fouls. But other than that, he's steadily improving with the fouling. But it definitely adds a different dimension. You can't just sit in the zone because Trez doesn't shoot threes, Gaff doesn't shoot threes. So TV is definitely bringing a different dimension. And I love the energy he's going to bring. And Fasal said, what do you guys want to do with the big man situation? So, you kind of look at the Alex Lynn, Robin Lopez, and Gaff situation from last year where they just it was kind of split evenly. It's going to be tough to do that. Trez is going to be really wanting his minutes. We know Trez is a vocal guy, so if he doesn't get his minutes, he's not going to be happy. Same thing with Gaff. Mm-hmm. He just paid Gafford the extension. And TB is going to want his minutes too. All these guys can play, and they all bring something different to the table. So I guess they're going to start off slow, probably split it between the three of them evenly and just see who has the hot hand, because there's some days where you see Trez, he didn't match up well against Gobert and Hassan Whiteside the other night, or when we first played the Jazz, he played better in the second time. And there's bigs who are 7 feet tall, 7'2". It's just not a good matchup for Trez. They're doing alley-oops, and the pick and roll is rough for him. And there's nights where Gafford's dunking on guys, and there's just different mismatch. Like we know he struggles against the Jokic and the other big kind of like stronger bigs. Gaff struggles against those guys sometimes, but he does really well against Evan Mobley. Like he did a good job against Evan Mobley the other night. So it just depends on the matchup. Whether we're playing like a Clint Capella type big, like a kind of lean, skinny type big, or we're playing one of those stronger Domantas Sabonis type bigs. Or we're going to put TB out there. So it all depends on matches. But I'm excited for Greg Monroe. I really am. Former Georgetown Hoya. And he played well. I don't know if he played with the Bucks or the Timberwolves, but
the
Timberwolves. He was playing really good ball. He almost had a double-double with him. So I'm excited for Greg Monroe.
Yeah, and as far as because I've heard some people talk about Thomas Bryant at the 4, I don't want Thomas Bryant at the 4. I don't think no. I'm good off that. No, but also just to bring this last point up, I think Thomas Bryant could help. When you're going up against the Rudy Gobert types or the Clint Capella types, that helps the Wizards, bring those guys out of the paint. Right. Thomas Bryant is at that 3-point line. You have to respect his ability to shoot the 3. So unlike with Montrez and Rudy Gobert, Montrez and Daniel Gafford, where they know there's no threat from 3. They can kind of sit in that paint, sag off a little bit, help guys out and deter the paint. Thomas Bryant is at that 3-point line, pick and pop, etc. You got to respect that. And like Fasal said, at 40%, that would be amazing. But to get to our next question, Ed, Wizards Points on Twitter at WizPoints. He said, does Tommy Sheppard's GM genius status for this season change if he doesn't make any moves at the deadline?
I wouldn't say his genius status changes, and I know we definitely got excited with the 10-3 start, and I thought he made a good trade with trading Russ for John, and getting both contracts officially off the books, getting Russ's contract off the books with the $47 million option, and getting 3 guys from the Lakers that all are very serviceable. And have championship pedigree and can help out a lot. They've made a big impact on the team. Kyle Kuzma was playing really good ball. KCP had a good night last night. Montrez has had some great games to start off the season. So I wouldn't call him a genius. I think he's really, really good. He's been really, really good so far. But if he doesn't make any moves, we just have to wait and see, because you kind of want to treat Rui and TB coming in kind of as like not as a trade, but kind of like adding players, because we haven't seen them through how many games have we played? 40 games now or something like that, or almost 40. So you got to look at those guys as an addition. Now, when we see them play, because February 10th is the trade deadline, so hopefully they can get at least I think we have like 8 more games until the trade deadline, 10 or something like that. So, but if he doesn't make a trade and everybody's playing well, but we do have to see how Spencer Dinwiddie gels with Brad coming back again, because that chemistry is a little off, in my opinion. So there are some chemistry issues within the team. So it is going to get a little. There's only one basketball, and Rui's coming back. He's got to get his touches. Thomas Bryant's coming back. He's got to get his touches. He's more offensive. He's more of an offensive-minded big, where Gaff is a defensive-minded big. So it's going to get – there is a log jam, and somebody's minutes is going to be cut too. Kisper, his minutes might get cut with Rui coming back and TB coming back. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I do want to see Kuz and Rui start together. I want to see them play together and see how that looks. And then I would go from there. So if he doesn't make any moves at the deadline, I wouldn't say that's the end of the world or it's a bad move.
I would say – I've never said Tommy was a genius,
Yeah, not yet.
You gotta win a championship or so, get on that Pat Riley status, etc. Right. But I think Tommy, I've praised him for the roster he's put together. I think he's still put together a decent roster and, created some flexibility for the team. But I do think maybe the team could be due for, some condensing, trying to straighten some things out there. You got a lot of guys coming back, and it's weird because the Wizards had a bunch of players out on the COVID protocol list, and their offense has been looking as good as it's ever been this whole season when they were having a full roster there. And when they had a full roster, we were talking about, hey, there's a lot of guys that seem like they don't really know their role, and it was a lot of guys doing a little too much. But when guys went out on the protocol list, it was like Dale, then it was Kuzma, then everybody else started to seem like they were just pitching in, falling in line. Roles seemed a little more defined. So maybe it's, as far as trade deadline and making a move, maybe you just want to condense a little bit and chop some skin off the meat. And because you got Rui, like you said, Rui coming back, TB, you talk about Montrez wants PT, Daniel Gafford wants PT, he just got paid. Tom's going to want, you start to worry about roles again. And who knows, man? I don't know. Maybe they need to simplify things by the team. Depth is great. Let me say that. Depth is great, but if it's causing confusion and is mucking things up, maybe you need to condense a little bit. That's all I'll say on that. Any thoughts on that, Ed, before we get to
that's a good point. I mean, the Athletic article saying where Trez said you got to give a squirrel a nut or something like that. You got to give him the ball. Basically, that's what he was saying. So there's only one ball to go around. And that's a great point. Sometimes less is more because everybody knows their role. Kuz knew his role. He had to step up. Brad knows his role. He was playing point guard, and the offense looked better. Kisper knew his role as a shooter. Deni knew his role as a defensive wing and getting assists and being a facilitator. Gaff was just a defensive anchor. And the other guys came in and stepped up and played well around Bradley Beal. KCP was the shooter. So that was the best our offense look. Guys were cutting to the basket. Denny was doing a heck of a job cutting to the basket. So that was the best our offense look because there's just so many guys kind of at that same skill level. The only person who's really standing out who, has made an all-star game is Bradley Beal. And everybody else is kind of like a top 150, top 100 player. Nobody's like an all-star, all-NBA caliber player. Everybody's kind of really, really good, but they're not an all-star or a superstar. So everybody kind of has that same kind of ego, if you will. So it's like, who's going to defer to who? That's the thing with Dinwiddie's like, okay, Brad, is it your turn? Is it my turn? And they're just thinking too much where it was just Brad and Kuz and everybody else, play their role. So that is a good point.
Yeah, 100%. And before we get to some more questions from you guys, we do have to get to a message from our friends over at Prize Picks. You guys already know that Prize Picks has the best NBA DFS prop game on the market. Prize Picks offers more NBA props than any other DFS prop operator and offers all the superstar players as well as bench players, only recording a handful of minutes each game. Prize Picks offers any prop you can think of, from points, assists, rebounds, threes made, etc. Prize Picks allows mixed sports entries. For example, you could take the over on Bradley Beal points and the under on Kyle Kuzma rebounds. Use the award-winning app on both the App Store and Google Play. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. Prize Picks is safe and offers fast withdrawals. Go to prizepicks.com today and use promo code NBA, or go to your app store and download the app. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. If you're not playing Prize Picks, you honestly don't know what you are missing. We also have a message from our friends over at Shopify. Reach customers online and across social networks with an ever-growing suite of channel integrations and apps, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, and more. Gain insights as you grow with detailed reporting of conversion rates, profit margins, and beyond. More than a store, Shopify grows with you. This is possibility powered by Shopify. Go to shopify.com/LockedOnNBA, all lowercase, for a free 14-day trial and get full access to Shopify's entire suite of features. Grow your business with Shopify today. Go to shopify.com/LockedOnNBA right now. That is shopify.com/LockedOnNBA. Once again, guys, I'm going to thank you all for making Locked On Wizards your first listen each and every day. Now, for your second listen, make it Locked On Now Podcast. Nightly recaps of every NBA game with analysis from our local experts. Listen to Locked On Now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or watch it on the Locked On NBA YouTube channel. So, Ed, our next question comes from Elon Adeto. I'm sorry if I am messing up your name. I apologize. That is at Adeto Elon or Elon. Where do you see Deni in a year from now, offensively and defensively? Thanks a lot. Love you guys from Israel.
It's a good question. I said Deni was in a shooting slump in yesterday's video. And, a lot of people got upset from that. Shout out to the people watching from Israel. Some people took it personal, but, he hasn't been shooting well. And the team hasn't been shooting well either as a whole. So it's not just him. And I think he's had a great year so far. He's been our best defensive player. He's locked up, put the clamps, and thrown up the X on Brandon Ingram. He did it to Giannis. He's played really well against Jimmy Butler, DeMar DeRozan at times, and he's really taking that assignment of guarding some. He guarded LaMelo Ball the other night too. So that's something that was not on his scouting report coming out of Israel, that he was going to be a lockdown defender. That's not something that people really thought. He's come a long way defensively. Under Scott Brooks last year, he was kind of in the wrong place, in the wrong position, getting yelled at by guys. And this year, we're begging him to get out there and finish games as a defensive anchor. Not only that, he's starting to untap his playmaking potential, bringing the ball up, being a point forward, getting a rebound, and just bringing the ball up. He kind of like last year. I said this last night too, kind of because he hit a rookie wall last year, which is normal for rookies to hit a wall. He wasn't really being used properly either. Sitting in the corner, Russ and Bill would dominate the basketball, and then they would kick it out to open shooters, and that's not really part of his game. So, but I think next year, I just want to see him finish around the rim stronger. He's 6'9", and I think he's still athletic. I've seen him dunk the ball before. I've seen him dunk on people before. I think he's more capable of doing that. We've heard comparisons to Hedo Turkoglu and comparisons to Tony Kukoc. And you look at old Tony Kukoc highlights, he was going over there and dunking on people. He really was. And I know Deni's coming off the ankle injury, so he still could be affecting him right now. So I get that, but I do want to see him just finish stronger around the rim. There's just some layups that he's missing that I want to see him finish and go up stronger. And the 3-point shot, it might not be his strength, but you got to hit some of the wide open ones. They're giving you opportunity. You're wide open. We need you to knock him down. He airballed 2 last night, and we need you to knock him down. And like I said, it's not just him. The whole team. We've seen KCP have some bad games. We've seen Kisper. Kisper hasn't shot the ball. Bertans, of course, hasn't shot the ball well. So just a team as a whole. I'm not nitpicking on him, but those are just the constructive criticisms that I see from him. He's got to finish. And also, don't put your head down. Keep your head up when you do make a mistake, when you are missing a layup. That happens. When you do drop a pass, it happens. But I do like what I see from here. I have seen some more confidence in his game. So next year, I see him being more confident, more aggressive, finishing better on the rim, and attacking one-on-one in his left hand, of course. We got to talk about the left hand, of course. That was something coming out of Israel as well, something that he really needed to work on. So I want to see him work on that left hand, finishing with the left hand, and putting the ball in the left hand. So next year, what I see from him, stat-wise, I guess, 8 points per game, five boards, and maybe like 3 assists. I see him getting a couple 5-5-5 games.
Yeah, I would say offensively, he has to. I would like to see him improve with the finishing, because if you can improve as a finisher, similar to Kyle Kuzma, I think with Deni and his size, if he can start getting downhill, getting to the free throw line, of course that comes with improving the free throws, etc. But if with his size, he can become a downhill player, a guy who can attack the basket and finish with his size, that can be his go-to offensively. Deni is tough, especially when you're in the NBA and you're not an elite athlete. It's easier to finish like the John Morants of the world, etc., because these guys are elite athletes. So it's a little easier for them to finish. Deni is a good athlete. I wouldn't say he's an elite athlete. So that can hurt him a little bit offensively when it comes to finishing. But, that all comes with time, practice, continue, just repetition. If he can, once again, become a good finisher, keep getting downhill and get to the free throw line, similar to what we say about Kyle Kuzma and how Kyle Kuzma is transforming his game and getting downhill more, getting to the free throw line. I mean, I think he can be really good, offensively. Defensively, keep doing what he's doing now. Just keep doing what he's doing now, strapping guys up. It's tough. And we talked about it with Dave when guys blow the whistle on Deni, we're always like, where's the foul? That's a good thing, because we feel like he's playing really good defense, hands-up defense, and it's like little minuscule things that these guys like Jimmy Butler or DeMar DeRozan can do, because they just know the intricacies of the game and how to get the ref to blow the whistle. But other than that, I mean, Deni's been playing really good defensively, and I would love for him to keep at it, because it's only going to get better as time goes. Now, offensively, needs more work than defensively right now, but it all comes with time. So, keep at it, Deni. You know, he's definitely, I would say he's struggling too right now to shoot the ball. But like you said, keep your head up. Don't get too low. You never get too low. You never get too high. Stay humble. Also, don't get too down on yourself. I would say those are the main things right there for Deni.
Definitely, yeah. He's showing potential. He's getting better. Defensively, yeah, they're just going to call fouls on those stars. That's what happens. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see him go up against DeMar DeRozan again, so he can, learn from that. We're going to be paying close attention to how they call this game because I thought he did a solid job on DeMar DeRozan.
100%. Our next question we have is from Roz. That is RAZSH 1010 on Twitter. And he says, after everyone is healthy, how would you divide the minutes in the 2 through 4 position? Seems like Wes likes his KCP and Dinwiddie minutes, and Kuz has to get his. Don't know how Rui, Deni, and Kispert will get their playing time.
Yeah, it just depends on how they're playing. It's more about who finishes the game and not who starts. Because Denny's been starting the games. I want to say he did finish against the Rockets last night, but it's more about who finishes the game. Deni would come off the bench and he would finish. He finished against the Pelicans when he strapped up Brandon Ingram. He strapped up Giannis. He finished against the Bucks. And there were some games where we were begging for him to finish, and we thought, Wes, why aren't you letting Deni finish the game? So if he's defending, he's got to play. He's got to get his minutes. KCP has been streaky. Kuzma has been streaky too. 0 for 7 from the field last night. That's not like him from the last couple of games where he went from 6 threes to 0 for 7. But Kuz definitely needs his minutes. He's a guy that his game kind of depends on. You can say that about anybody. Everybody's game depends on confidence, but you can tell the last couple of games his confidence has just been through the roof because he's hitting shots, he's going downhill, he's going to coast. He just looks like a different player right now. And Dinwiddie, of course, he's got to get his minutes. I mean, we bought him. That was the big free agent get. We got to make this work. But if not, then you might want to explore either him coming off the bench or exploring some trade opportunities because for some reason this Bill Dinwiddie dynamic has not gone well so far. But to straight up answer the question, when Rui does come back, Rui's going to get the bulk of the minutes. He is. He was our 9th pick, our lottery pick. And Tommy Sheppard, he loves him some Rui. So Rui's definitely going to get his 25 to 30 minutes. He's been a starter the past 2 years. He's gotten 30 minutes per game. So Rui's going to get some big minutes for sure. Kispert is probably going to be the odd man out, unfortunately.
Definitely.
And then you got to throw Bertans in the mix too. When he's injured now, but who knows how long he's going to be out. So it's going to be between Bertans and Kispert. But I think Rui's going to get the bulk of the minutes for sure. And then Kuz just has to play. He's going to have to get at least 25 to 30. And KCP is going to get probably 25 at that shooting guard spot. I would say Kuz would play the 3, and then Rui's my 4 right now. And then Kispert's probably the 10th man off the bench, and then Rui's probably like the 7th, 6th, 8th. Trez is the 6th. So Deni is probably like that 7th or 8th man. He's probably going to get at least 20 to 25.
Yeah, like I said, and this goes back to what I was talking about maybe condensing a little bit because it's a lot, and it's a lot of rotation stuff going around when everybody comes back because Aaron Holiday minutes may drop off because sometimes he can play at the 2. You never know. Maybe it's whole Neto, but I think it may be more Holiday loses minutes than Neto. Neto's pretty. I think West likes Neto. Man, it's tough. Corey Kispert definitely is going to lose minutes 100%. Then you still got Bertans. You got Kuz. Deni, it's really tough. And like I said, depth is good, but sometimes, like you said earlier, less could be better. At times, less could be better. It's going to be tough. And that's a thing Wes is going to have to figure it out, especially that 2 through 4. I mean, even at the 3 with TB, Montrez, and Gafford, like we spoke about earlier, it could be a little log jam there at the forward spot and at the center spot. Yeah, they got some log jams. So, man, that's a tough question. But I definitely think if not assuming a trade is made, Dinwiddie, Bill, KCP, Kuzma, Gafford. I don't know if Rui maybe gets in the start lineup, but I'm gonna assume right now that's your 5. That's the 5. Neto, Bertans, Deni, Montrez / TB, depends on how things are going during the game. And I feel like I'm missing an important person that I just spoke about. And then I'm not sure. You guys will remind me for sure.
You
But
said
I feel like
Trez. Well, Trez is a 5. But
yeah, Trez. I said Trez. I feel like I'm missing a 4. I don't know if I said Rui or not, but if I didn't, I obviously Rui. So I think those right there. Aaron Holiday may be looking out. Corey Kispert definitely will be looking out. And then all the G League guys and go-go guys will definitely, whoever's up at the time will definitely be out. So they got to figure it out and how the minutes will get spread out. And of course, that all changes from game to game. So I would say that right there. Maybe some condensing is in order because that's a lot. That's a lot. And guys want the ball. Guys want the ball, and you don't want roles getting mixed up again like it was earlier in the season. But before we get to our last question, Ed, we do have a message from our friends over at Built Bar.
This episode is brought to you by Built Bar. It's the new year, so that means New Year's resolutions. If yours is about getting fit or eating healthier, make sure you include Built Bar in your plan. My favorite thing to do with Built Bar, I like cookies and cream. Usually put it in the fridge or usually put it in the microwave, whatever mood I'm feeling. It just gives it a little bit more flavor. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, maybe even better than a candy bar. You want to eat healthy, but it just gets so boring by like week 3. You might be thinking, this is not worth it. Where's the chocolate? Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar, which usually has around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. Even if you're not a huge fan of working out, you can at least eat something that tastes good and is good for you. The way when you enjoy a delicious Built Bar, you can almost count it as a workout. Go to Built.com. Use promo code to get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com. All right, so there's a lot of questions that everybody put in. We're not going to be able to get to all of them, but I do want to thank Greg. You know, we're not going to get to Greg's question. They call me G-Tab on Twitter. He says, what are your top 3 shouldn't trade Wizards players this year? Remember, this is different from the top 3 best players. We'll probably get to that on another episode. There was some on the YouTube community tab as well. Ahmad Alo Kaylee, we'll get to his question on the next episode as well. And Matt Moderno from Bullets Forever said, how much Wizard swag did D talks a lot get for his birthday? The people need to know. And on YouTube, this question on the next episode, peace, okay, shorts, and the last question for today, we'll just talk about what we're going to say against the Bulls on Friday night tomorrow. NBA Land says, should the Wizards trade for a star or try to rebuild?
We've talked about this before. I think, like I've said, I think the Wizards need to decide what they want to do. Do they either want to float around 500 again, be a play-in team possibly, or first round exit team? Or do you want to try to actually do something that helps move the needle potentially? Now, that all depends on what stars are available, which it doesn't seem like too many are right now, if any. You could have said Cat, but the Timberwolves aren't playing terrible. They have an opportunity to possibly get in the playoffs. So it's not easy to just try to get a star. I know you got Sabonis out there. It's possible, that they can try to make a move that either, if it's not for a player that instantly moves the needle, maybe a course of moves that, really help the team out, try to get them to that next level, not anything like a championship contender, but a more respectable contender. I would say that. But right now, they're just, I think they do got to do something. They do got to make a move, especially if into the All-Star break and trade deadline, they're still floating around 500 and just playing 500 ball. 2-game win streak here, 2-game losing streak there, 3-game losing streak there, win games here and there, but they can't ever really get a streak going. I think you definitely have to go ahead and make a move. And a lot of it depends on Bradley Beal. If Bradley Beal can't commit or he's not really sure still, you may have to start taking calls, and that may lead to a rebuild because that's your star and he's going to be gone. So I think you either got to do something or possibly start taking some calls. Who knows, man? Sorry about that, guys. We lost Ed, but I can assume Ed would say that he also kind of agrees with either they got to make a move and try to do something different or rebuild it, because we're floating right now. I think Ed would agree with that as well. But that was it. That's all we had for you guys. Sorry that it couldn't finish. We got a little Wi-Fi problem. Technical difficulties, guys. But that's where we're going to end it off. So once again, guys, I want to thank you all for making Locked On Wizards your first listen each and every day. Now for your next listen, Locked On Bets, your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bet, hosted by your boy Q, with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. It's free and available on all platforms. So, guys, hopefully against the Bulls, we got the Bulls coming up again, man. It'll be tough, but hopefully they can get the job done. And hopefully I'll be coming at you guys after a dub. All right. Have a great night, guys.